Okay, find all zeros of the equation. You have two problems to do. It's very similar to what you did yesterday. You got to actually, they're not going to give you the first answer though. Now, there's a difference in the way the book wants us to do it and the way I'm going to do it. Because it's the way I did it when I did these problems in college. Okay, get that F parentheses X out of there and put equals 0, please. Okay, that needs to be done on all problems. There's 3 answers. And doing the grouping's not going to work. Those 2 parentheses are not the same. This is prime. And if I write prime with 4 terms, you need to use the synthetic division. But here's the problem. We don't get our first answer to just put up there. Now here's what the book wants us to do. If you remember this, remember when I had the equation, I had to take 20, list all the factors, 3, list all the factors, and then divide. Does that kind of look familiar? We just did it a while back. Then what you need to do is take all these, and I'm not even joking, take all these. 1 would be your first one, then 2, and so forth. 3 is not on the list, so you wouldn't try. You have to trial and error with this L. You'd put 1 here, and if you don't get 0 at the end, then you have to erase all your work and do -1. And then if that doesn't work, you go to 2, do all the work, negative, and if that's not 0, yeah, I really don't want to do it that way. I've never done it that way, so here's what we're doing, okay? Start just trial and error. Use trial and error on your calculator. You need one of these calculators, okay? I don't want those piece of crap ones that don't, where you can't see where you're going. I want the whole equation to be able to be typed in. I want you to start with the number 1, plug it in for all the x's, and see if you get 0. Start with 1. So x, so parentheses 1, and that's to the third. Minus 5. And then x, so parentheses 2, that's the second. Minus 22, parentheses 1, plus 56. Okay, I didn't get 0, so I know I can't use 1. If 1 doesn't work, then go to -1. Don't go straight to 2. Go to -1. So parentheses -1 now to the third power. Every x I put a parentheses, but I'm going to put -1. So minus 5, -1 to the second. Minus 22. It's kind of a sucky process, but it's better than the alternative. Plus 56. Okay, -1 didn't work. So I know it's not 1. I know it's not -1. Go to 2 now, positive 2. And you're like, well, what if do I have to do this till I get into like 11? No, I didn't put any. I'm more than fair in in the problems I created. Okay, I got 0. So I plugged 2 in. 2's the first answer. And now everything else is the same. 2's your divisor. X third, you got positive 1. X second, -5. And then x, that would be -22. Then 56. 1 times 2 is 2. You should be getting -3. Remember, every time it gets dropped, you got to find the product. That's -6. So -28. And -56. -28 times 2 is -56. 0. Okay, what happens to that 1? Well, now it carries an x squared. And this carries an x minus 28, 0. GCF and T. GCF, you don't have the negative. You don't have x on everything. 1, 3, 28's 1 out. A times C, 1 times -28. -28 product, difference of 3. 128, nope. 2 and 14, nope. 3 is a decimal, 4 and 7, bam. So 3 is minus, so 7's got to be minus, and it's different, so they have to be a non-match. Okay, and a equals 1x squared. So you only need 2 parentheses. You don't need a number to lead, but you need to break the x up in half. Okay, so that's F1, that's F2, and got my answers. X plus 4 is 0, x minus 7 is 0. I get negative 4 for the first, plus 7, x is 7. No, what the book wants you to do is they want you to put numbers here, like all those, make that annoying list first off, and then take all the numbers from the list, put it here, and even then, if it doesn't work, you have to erase everything and try it again until you get the 0. Yeah, that's horrible. Get that out of there if we're not doing this. Okay, equals 0. 3 answers. And these are all prime expressions, so making the grouping's not going to work. You got to go to your synthetic division. It's the only way. Okay, let's now put 1 in, see how that works. So 3 and then 1 to the 3rd power plus 4 and then parentheses 1 to the 2nd power minus 35 and then 1 minus 12. Okay, 1 is not going to work. Now we go to negative 1. Nope, not negative 1. Now try 2. Plus 4. I need to talk to myself here to make sure I punch in right. Minus 35 and then 2. Minus 12. Nope. Now try negative 2. You got to go to the positive and the negative. 3 and then negative 2 to the 3rd. Plus 4 and then negative 2 to the 2nd. Minus 35 and then negative 2. Minus 12. Nope. Go to 3. 3. I did not put any problems where you would have to go past negative 4. Okay, I could have, but I didn't. I was being nice. Now I'm putting 3 in for all my x's. Finally, I get 0. So 3. And that's our divisor. In a life or death situation, you would keep going until you got 0. So 3. 3x third. X second has a 4. The x has negative 35 and then negative 12. Drop that 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 13. 13 times 3 is 39. Then 4 times 3 is 12. And then again adds to 0. So what happens at 3? It goes from x3 to x second, and then everything else follows x, the constant, and 0. Put pluses in front. Okay, now factor that with 3 terms. GCF negative. Nope, you got x on everything. Nope. A, B, C. So A times C, 3 times 4 is 12. Remember, at the end of this, I should have this times this be 3x squared, and this times this be 4. That's the idea. Getting there is a challenge unless you use the strategy we've been working on. That's positive, sum of 13, 1 and 12. So 13, so you got plus 12 for sure, and sum would mean they're the same sign. Okay, A is 3x squared, so that's kind of annoying. You need 4 parentheses. Now you're like, well, why do you need 4? I know it's 1x and 3x. Yeah, but how do you know where the 1x and 3x need to be placed? You'd have to trial and error, which is a big waste of time. Okay, so 3 x, and then plus 1, plus 12. Okay, that has a GCF of 1, so it just drops. GCF of 3, so divide by 3. And that's my F2, 1 and F2. So 3x plus 1 equals 0. 1x plus 4 equals 0. Okay, so I have negative 1/3 for the first answer. And negative 4 for the second. Alright, I got 3 more I'm going to do. When you're ready, you can work. Okay. This, stick around for this one at least part of it. There's 3 answers. And this is prime. And you're like, well, there's 3 terms. Yeah, but if you have an odd exponent leading off 3 terms, that's prime as well. Okay. Because there's no way you can break x to the third into 2 separate x's. Okay, so let's try 1. Nope. Try negative 1. Anywhere there's an x, we make a parentheses and put negative 1. Zero. Okay, now negative 1's the divisor. And we have 1 on the x to the third. But where's the x to the second? There is none. But you need to account for that term with 0. If you don't, it'll be all screwed up. And then the x, negative 31. And then the constant, negative 30. Drop the 1. So 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. That's negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. Negative 30 times negative 1 is positive 30. Okay, 0. Okay, what happens to 1? It goes x second. And this will have x. And then that'll equal 0. Okay, trinomial, so t it. And GCF t. GCF negative in front. Nope. You got x on everything. Nope. 1, 1, and 30. The GCF is 1. So I have 1 times negative 30. That's negative 30. Difference of 1. 1 and 30. Nope. 2 and 15. Nope. 3 and 10. Nope. 4 is a decimal, and 5 and 6 will work. Okay, so the 1 up there is minus. They have to come out to negative 1, so we need negative 6. And difference, well, they'd be the opposite. A is 1x squared. Nice, I just need 2. Don't need to lead off with anything, but we need to break the x second in half. Because x, again, x times x is x second, leading to a 1x a second, and that's negative 30. Okay, so x plus 5 equals 0. X minus 6 is 0. And you're going to get negative 5 and 6. Okay, next up, there are 3 answers. Prime, even though it's 3 terms, it's prime because you're leading at your highest exponent's odd, so there's no way that would be able to factor. And you're like, well, could you use a song? No, you can't. You can only use a song if it goes x squared, x, and the constant. There can't be any higher than a second power. So try 1. Nope, try negative 1. Yep. Okay, so negative 1 it is. So I'm divisor's negative 1. So I have x third has positive 2. X squared has negative 7. X itself isn't even in here, so that's 0, and that's 9. So drop your 2. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Negative 9. Negative 9 times negative 1 is 9. 9 times negative 1 is negative 9 and 0. Okay, so that 2 goes to x second. X equals, and it's a trinomial, so ABC. Our GCF first. Negative in front, nope. X on everything, nope. 299's 1. A times C, 2 times 9, that's going to be 18. Positive sum of 9. 1 and 18, nope, that's too high. 18 divided by 2 is 9. That's 11. That's a little bit high. 18 divided by 3 is 6, and there's 9 on the button. So they have to add up to the negative 9, so 6 is negative, and it's a sum, so they're both negative. Those make negative 9. And A is 2x squared, so again, 4 parentheses. Okay, so 2 x minus 3 minus 6. GCF here is 1, so that factor will remain a final factor. And if I divide by 2, that's 1x minus 3. Okay, that's F1 and F2. Okay, so 2x minus 3 is 0. 1x minus 3 is 0. So plus 3, I get 3. Divide by 2. That's 3 over 2, or 1.5 is fine. And that is 3. Okay, last one. There are 4 answers. And once again, prime expression, heck, you know it's prime, there's 5 terms. There ain't no way you factor 5 terms. Now here's the thing. We're going to need 2 L's here because there's 4 I have to find. I'm going to get the first 2 by trial and error, and then the next 2 I'll be able to find through my factoring. So I'm going to put 1 in. Second plus 10. Remember, everywhere there's an X, you need to go with that. Minus 24. Okay, 1 isn't going to work. Now try negative 1. I don't ever put ones where there's 4 like these. I mean, there'll be 4 answers on some, but not where you have to do the synthetic division. Minus 2, negative 1 to the third, minus 9, negative 1 second, plus 10, negative 1, minus 24. Okay, no. Now try 2. Okay, didn't work. Now try negative 2. Okay, 3. 3 to the fourth. Minus 2 times 3 to the third. Minus 9, and then parentheses 3 squared, plus 10, and then parentheses 3, minus 24. Okay, 48. Now try negative 3. If we get past negative 4, I'm stopping. Okay. Plus 10. Okay, I finally got negative 3, but I need to keep going because I need to find the second one. So negative 3 will be the first divisor. Now let's try 4. So 4 to the fourth, minus 2, and then 4 to the third, minus 9, and then 4 squared, plus 10, and then 4, minus 24. Okay, that got 0 too. So negative 3 and 4. All right, now my dividend, I have a 1 on the x to the fourth, negative 2 on x to the third, negative 9, positive 10, and negative 24. So I do what I normally do. I drop the 1, and then 1 times negative 3 would be negative 3. Then add. Comes out to negative 5. Negative 5 times negative 3 is 15. Add. You get 6. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. Add. It's negative 8. And negative 8 times negative 3 is 24. And that makes 0. And I'm going to get rid of the 0 because I'm not ready to write the equation yet. So I drop the 1 now. 1 times 4 is 4. Negative 1. Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. That's 2. And 2 times 4 is 8. And cancel. Okay. Now the 1 was x to the 4th, but I just divided twice, so it skips over x to the 3rd. Now it's x to the 2nd. X equals 0. Okay. GCF and the T-chart. GCF, the negative in front. Nope. X on everything. No way. 1, 1, and 1, and 2 is 1. Okay, so A times C. 1 times 2 is 2. Positive 2. Sum of 1. Well, that's impossible. Okay. So you have to go to your quadratic formula. So the opposite of the B is 1. That's square root, parentheses to the 2nd, minus 3 straight parentheses. So B is negative 1. 4, and A is 1. And C is 2. Okay, and then I have 2 and 1. Okay, so over here we have the plus minus with a 1 in front. 2 times 1 is 2. And let's figure out that square root. I'm using my calculator. If you don't like the calculator, you know what you have to use. Okay, that times itself, that, and that, and so forth. Ooh, I got a domain error. Nice. All right, so what I need to do is punch it in without the square root. So parentheses negative 1 to the 2nd minus 4, 1, and 2. Got negative 7. Well, that's why we had the domain error. We need to make it positive and bring the I out. And then find the square root of just 7. 2.65, but that would be 2.65i, and that means I can't simplify the top with that I there because these are not like terms. So 1 plus 2.65i over 2 is this answer. 1 minus 2.65i over 2 is this answer, but I'm just going to circle that and know that that's these two answers.